Dead weight at my own wife's funeral. That's what she called me. 6 months ago, I buried Margaret. 43 years of marriage. Sarah was the only family I had left. 3 hours after we lowered her mother into the ground, my daughter looked me in the eye and said those words. Her husband, Tyler, nodding behind her like a bobblehead. Dad, you're dead weight now. Time to face reality. I didn't scream, didn't cry, didn't even argue. I just pulled out my phone and stopped the recording app. 47 minutes of conversation. Every single word. You see, I built a $200 million tech company by learning one simple rule. When people show you who they really are, believe them the first time. Sarah and Tyler had just shown me exactly who they were. What I did next? Well, let's just say they learned that dead weight can still move mountains when it has $45 million in liquid assets. But Sarah had made one critical mistake. She forgot that I built my fortune by paying attention to details. Let me take you back to the beginning. When Sarah was 7, Margaret and I started a college fund. By 18, that fund had grown to $460,000, full ride to Stanford, MBA from Wharton, every penny covered. Her wedding to Tyler, $127,000. I wrote that check without blinking. The venue, the catering, the honeymoon in Tuscany. Hell, I even paid for Tyler's bachelor party in Vegas. $12,000 for one weekend. But the real gift was the loft. 2,200 square feet on the 23rd floor of Meridian Tower in downtown Austin. Corner unit, city views. I handed them the deed as a wedding present. $850,000. Just like that. For 7 years, they lived rent-free in luxury while I covered the property taxes. $3,200 a month. I never complained, never asked for a dime back. That was the old James, the father who thought love meant giving everything without question. 3 weeks before Margaret's funeral, Sarah called me. Not to check on how I was handling the medical bills, not to ask about hospice care arrangements. She wanted to discuss estate planning. Dad, we need to talk about your assets, she said, professional voice, like she was discussing a business transaction. I should have seen it coming then, but grief makes you stupid, makes you hope your family will be your family when you need them most. The funeral was on September 18th, small service, Margaret's wishes, just close friends and family. By 6 p.m., most people had left. Sarah and Tyler stayed behind, said they wanted to help me process next steps. That's when Tyler pulled out a manila folder, printed documents. They'd done their homework. James, Tyler said, not Dad, not even Mr. Anderson. James, we've been thinking about your living situation. Sarah jumped in. The loft is way too big for one person. And honestly, Dad, you've been making some concerning decisions lately. Concerning decisions. Like spending $340,000 on Margaret's cancer treatment. Like choosing to be with my dying wife instead of attending Tyler's promotion dinner. We found this great assisted living facility, Sarah continued. Sunset Manor. It's only $2,800 a month. Only $2,800. I was paying more than that for their property taxes. The thing is, Tyler said, sliding papers across the table, we'd like to take over the loft. Help you transition into this new chapter. New chapter. That's what they called my wife's death. Sarah needs space for her home office, Tyler explained, and we're planning to start a family soon. I looked at my daughter, really looked at her. When did she become this person? When did my little girl turn into someone who could discuss inheriting her father's home while her mother's funeral flowers were still fresh? What about the mortgage? I asked quietly. There is no mortgage, Dad. You paid it off, remember? Sarah's voice had that patient tone you use with confused elderly people. The deed transfer would be simple. Clean. No complications. No complications. 43 years of marriage, 18 years of raising a child, 7 years of supporting their lifestyle. No complications. That's when I started recording. And where exactly am I supposed to live while you take over my home? Tyler leaned forward. Like Sarah said, Sunset Manor is perfect. You'll have people your own age. Activities, meals prepared, no maintenance responsibilities. They have a great social room, Sarah added. You could play chess, watch TV with other residents, like I was already dead to them. The best part, Tyler said, is that we'd handle all the paperwork, transfer utilities, change the addresses, coordinate the moving company. You wouldn't have to worry about anything. Wouldn't have to worry about losing the home I'd bought for them, about being warehoused with strangers, about watching my daughter erase 43 years of memories so she could have a bigger closet. I need to think about it, I said. Sarah's face hardened, that look I remembered from when she was 16 and didn't get the car she wanted. Dad, honestly? You're not thinking clearly right now. Grief does that to people. But we can't let you make decisions that'll hurt everyone involved. Hurt everyone involved, meaning them. The market's really good right now, Tyler added. If we wait too long, the opportunity might pass. Opportunity. My wife had been dead for 6 hours. Besides, Sarah said, standing up, it's not like you need all that space anymore. Mom's gone. You're alone. Face reality, Dad. You're dead weight now. Time to stop holding everyone back. Dead weight. I clicked off the recording. 47 minutes. Every word, every calculated sentence, every moment they thought they were managing a confused old man. They left that night with promises to circle back in a few days and help me see reason. I sat in that empty house surrounded by Margaret's things, listening to the silence, and I realized something important. Margaret always told me, James, never mistake kindness for weakness, and never let anyone, even family, mistake your love for stupidity. Time to stop making that mistake. Time to show them exactly what dead weight could accomplish. Tyler's next words sealed their fate. 3 days after the funeral, my phone rang at 7 a.m. Sarah's number. Dad, we need to talk. Can you meet us for breakfast? Magnolia Cafe on South Lamar. Public place. Smart move. Harder for the crazy old man to make a scene. I arrived 15 minutes early, ordered coffee. Black. Waited. They walked in like they owned the world. Sarah in her designer yoga outfit, the kind that costs more than most people's rent. Tyler in his investment banker costume, $2,000 suit, shoes that probably cost more than my first car. They sat across from me, no hug from Sarah. No, how are you holding up, Dad? Just business? We've been thinking, Tyler started, and we really need to move forward with the transition. The paperwork's ready. He slid a manila envelope across the table. Deed transfer documents. Already filled out. Just needed my signature. There's also this, Sarah said, pushing a second set of papers toward me. Moving assistance agreement. I opened it. $50,000. Moving costs and transition support. That should cover Sunset Manor's deposit and first year, Tyler explained, plus professional movers for your personal items. Personal items. Like I was downsizing from a mansion to a storage unit. What about Margaret's things? I asked. Sarah's expression softened. For just a moment, I thought I saw my daughter again. We'll take good care of everything, Dad. Mom's jewelry, her books, the photo albums. We'll keep the family history safe. Keep it safe. In the home I'd bought for them. The thing is, Tyler said, checking his Apple Watch, we really need this finalized by Friday. The market window won't stay open forever. Market window. My grief had an expiration date. Sarah's already given notice at her apartment, Tyler continued, and I've got contractors lined up for some updates. Nothing major, just modernizing the kitchen, updating the master bathroom. Modernizing, erasing 43 years of Margaret's touches, her herb garden on the balcony, the reading nook where she spent Sunday mornings, the bathroom tile she'd picked out square by square. Updates cost money, I said quietly. That's the beauty of it, Tyler smiled. The equity in the loft will cover everything, plus give us some breathing room for starting our family. Breathing room, built on my dead wife's grave. Sarah leaned forward. Dad, I know this is hard, but Mom would want us to be practical. She'd want you taken care of, and she'd want Tyler and me to build our future. Margaret's name in their mouths, using her memory to justify stealing her home. Besides, Tyler added, let's be honest about your situation. You're 78 years old? 68. Right, 68? You're living alone in a space designed for a family. The maintenance alone must be overwhelming. When did you last clean those floor-to-ceiling windows? Or service the HVAC system? I'd serviced the HVAC system 2 months ago. Cleaned the windows myself every Saturday morning for 7 years. But Tyler didn't want answers. He wanted to build his case. And the property taxes keep going up, Sarah said. $3,200 a month. That's almost $40,000 a year. Just thrown away. Thrown away? On the home I'd given them, the taxes I'd been paying without complaint while they lived rent-free. At Sunset Manor, all that's handled, Tyler said. No maintenance, no property taxes, no utility bills, just simple, predictable monthly costs. Simple, predictable, like a storage facility for unwanted parents. What if I said no? I asked. The temperature at the table dropped 10 degrees. Sarah's mask slipped. Dad, that wouldn't be fair. We've already made plans, put deposits down. Tyler's already told his boss he's relocating. Fair? Interesting word choice. Tyler leaned back, casual, confident. James, let's be adults here. You're not thinking clearly. Grief affects cognitive function. It's scientific fact. Cognitive function from a man whose biggest decision that morning was which tie to wear. We could involve family court if necessary, Tyler continued. Get a mental competency evaluation. But that's messy for everyone. Better to handle this privately. Like family. Like family. With court threats and competency evaluations. You're talking about elder abuse charges, I said. Tyler's smile never wavered. I'm talking about adult children who care about their father's well-being. Courts see these situations all the time. Elderly widowers making poor decisions. Families stepping in to help. Family stepping in to steal everything? Sarah reached across the table. Touched my hand. Dad, please, don't make this harder than it has to be. We're not the bad guys here. Not the bad guys, just the people trying to take my home while my wife's body was still warm. I need to think about it, I said. Tyler sighed. James, honestly, time's up for thinking. We need a decision. Today or else. Mom's been gone 3 days, I said quietly. And life goes on, Sarah snapped. Mom would be the first person to tell you that. She was practical. She'd want us moving forward, not wallowing in the past. Wallowing in grief for my wife of 43 years. Tyler stood up. We'll give you until tomorrow morning, 10 a.m. After that, we'll have to explore other options. Other options? Legal threats wrapped in family concern. They left me sitting there, didn't pay for their coffee, didn't ask if I needed anything, didn't say goodbye. I sat there for 20 minutes, staring at the papers they'd left behind. The deed transfer, the $50,000 in moving money, the timeline that turned my wife's death into a real estate transaction. Then I pulled out my phone and called my attorney. Time to explore some options of my own. What I discovered about their building changed everything. My attorney's name is Patricia Wells. 40 years of real estate law. Margaret and I used her for everything. The business sale, estate planning, property acquisitions. She knew our family situation better than most therapists. James, I'm so sorry about Margaret, Patricia said when I called. How are you holding up? Not great. And it's about to get worse. I need to see you. Today. Her office was downtown, same building where I'd signed the TechFlow sale papers 18 months ago. $200 million. After taxes and estate planning, 45 million in liquid assets. Margaret and I had planned to travel. See Europe. Maybe buy that cabin in Colorado she'd always talked about. Instead, I spent it all on keeping her alive for 18 more months. Show me the papers, Patricia said. I spread them across her conference table. Deed transfer, moving agreement, Tyler's timeline, Sarah's demands. Patricia read everything twice. 37 years of legal training, and her face got angrier with each page. This is financial elder abuse, she said finally. Textbook case. They're using emotional manipulation and legal threats to coerce asset transfer. Can they actually get a competency evaluation? They can try. Won't succeed. You just sold a tech company for $200 million. Your financial decisions are documented as sound. Your medical records show no cognitive decline. But the process would be invasive, expensive, emotionally brutal. Emotionally brutal, like losing your wife and your daughter in the same week. What are my options? Patricia leaned back. Legally? Tell them to pound sand, keep your home, file harassment charges if they persist. And practically, that's more complicated. This is your daughter, James. Family court judges see these cases differently when there's genuine family conflict involved. Genuine family conflict, like greed versus grief. There's something else? I said. I want to know about their building. Meridian Tower. Who owns it? What are the financials? Patricia pulled out her laptop. Why? Call it due diligence. 20 minutes of searches. Property records, LLC filings, tax assessments. The picture got clearer with each document. Meridian Tower LLC owns the building, Patricia said. Purchased in 2019 for $4.2 million. Financed through Austin Commercial Bank. Current occupancy rate is 47%. 47%? Half empty. What's market rent for units like theirs? More typing. Comparable units in that area? $9,000 to $9,800. Your daughter's paying $3,200. I'd been subsidizing them at 67% below market rate for 7 years. Who's behind Meridian Tower LLC? Registered agent is... Patricia frowned. This is interesting. Martin Kowalski. He's the developer who got caught in that bankruptcy scandal last year. Forbes ran a piece about his cash flow problems. Cash flow problems. In a building half empty with below market rents. Patricia, what would it cost to buy that building? She looked at me like I'd lost my mind. James, you just lost your wife. You're dealing with family trauma. This isn't the time for major financial decisions. Margaret died owing me a promise, I said quietly. She made me swear I'd never let anyone, including family, take advantage of my kindness again. Patricia studied my face, 40 years of reading clients. She knew determination when she saw it. Based on the occupancy rate in Kowalski's financial situation, probably 3.8 to 4 million. Cash deal could knock off another 200,000. 4 million. I spent more than that on Margaret's medical bills. How fast could we close? With cash? 7 to 10 days, but James, do it. This is revenge, not business. No, I said, standing up. This is education. My daughter thinks I'm dead weight. Time to teach her what dead weight can actually accomplish. Patricia gathered the papers. And after you buy their building? What then? Then I become their landlord, and landlords charge market rates. James, they're your family. They were my family, until they decided to treat me like a business opportunity. I walked to the window. Downtown Austin spread out below, Meridian Tower visible in the distance, 27 floors of glass and steel. Sarah and Tyler on the 23rd floor, planning their future in my gift. Margaret always said love should be a two-way street, I told Patricia. For 7 years, I've been walking both directions. Time for them to learn how traffic really works. Patricia sighed. I'll make the calls. But James, Once we do this, there's no going back. Family relationships don't survive business disputes. I thought about Sarah's words. Dead weight, Tyler's threats, legal action if I didn't cooperate. Patricia, some relationships aren't worth surviving. I'll have purchase documents ready by tomorrow morning. Tomorrow morning, 10 a.m. Right when Tyler expected my surrender. Instead, he'd get a masterclass in market forces. Their reaction to the certified letter was priceless. The building purchase closed in 7 days. Austin Holdings LLC, my new company, now owned Meridian Tower and everything in it, including Unit 2304, Sarah and Tyler's luxury loft, my former wedding gift. Patricia handled the paperwork like a military operation. Cashier's check for $3.8 million. Clean title transfer. No financing contingencies. Martin Kowalski practically kissed my hand during the signing. His bankruptcy attorney looked like Christmas had come early. Congratulations, Mr. Anderson, the title company rep said. You're now the proud owner of a downtown Austin high-rise. Proud owner. I liked the sound of that. The first thing I did was hire Janet Collins as property manager. 23 years managing commercial real estate in Austin. Former Marine. No-nonsense attitude. Perfect for what came next. Janet, I need you to conduct a comprehensive rent analysis for all units. Specifically, I want market comparisons for every lease currently below standard rates. How far below are we talking? Unit 2304 is paying $3,200. Market rate is $9,600. Janet whistled. That's a 67% discount. Family deal? Janet smiled. She'd seen family business disputes before. I'll have the analysis ready in 48 hours. And Janet? Send all official correspondence by certified mail. I want signatures confirming receipt. 2 days later, the letters went out. Professional letterhead. Austin Holdings, LLC. Legal language that would make Patricia proud. Notice of rent adjustment to market rates. Effective December 1st, 2024. Monthly rent for Unit 2304 will increase from $3,200 to $9,600. This adjustment brings your lease in line with current market valuations for comparable properties in downtown Austin. The letter included everything: comparable property analysis, market research data, legal citations explaining landlord rights under Texas property law. And at the bottom, in small print, questions regarding this adjustment may be directed to Austin Holdings, LLC management during regular business hours. Sarah called at 6:47 a.m. the morning after delivery. Dad, what the hell is this letter? Good morning, Sarah. I assume you're referring to the rent adjustment notice. Rent adjustment? You tripled our rent. This has to be illegal. Actually, it's called market pricing, something your husband Tyler should understand, given his background in finance. This is insane. We're family. Funny. 3 weeks ago, you told me I was deadweight holding everyone back. Market forces don't recognize family relationship, my sweetheart. Dead silence. Sarah processing the implications. Her husband's voice in the background. Urgent whispers. Dad, you can't do this. We have rights as tenants. Absolutely. Texas Property Code protects your rights completely. You have 30 days notice before the adjustment takes effect. That's exactly what I provided. Tyler grabbed the phone. James, this is harassment. We'll fight this in court. Please do, Tyler. I have excellent attorneys. They specialize in landlord-tenant law. Very expensive. Very thorough. You're being vindictive. I'm being businesslike. Isn't that what you wanted? When you threatened mental competency evaluations? When you said I wasn't thinking clearly? Tyler's breathing got heavier. This is different. You're attacking our home. No, Tyler. I'm managing my investment property. Big difference. Sarah took the phone back. Dad, please. We can't afford $9,600 a month. Then perhaps you should consider downsizing. I hear Sunset Manor has some availability. The line went quiet for 10 seconds. You bastard, Sarah whispered. Language, sweetheart. Your mother raised you better than that. Don't you dare bring Mom into this. Margaret taught me something important, Sarah. She said never let anyone, even family, mistake your love for stupidity. This isn't love. This is revenge. No, this is education. You wanted me to face reality? Welcome to market reality. Class is now in session. Tyler got back on the phone. James, we'll go to the media. Elder abuse, family exploitation. This won't look good for your precious reputation. Go ahead. Call Channel 8. I'll give them copies of our conversation from the funeral. 47 minutes of audio where you threaten legal action against a grieving widower. Should make compelling television. Silence. Plus, I continued, I'll provide financial records showing $2.7 million invested in Sarah's life. College, wedding, housing, property taxes. Let the public decide who's exploiting whom. You recorded us? I recorded everything, Tyler. That's what successful businessmen do. We document our transactions. Sarah was crying now. Real tears or performance tears. Hard to tell. Dad, this will destroy us financially. Then you understand exactly how I felt when you tried to force me into assisted living 3 days after your mother's funeral. That was different? How? We were trying to help you. By stealing my home and warehousing me with strangers? Some help? Tyler came back on, voice shaking with rage. Fine. You want to play hardball? We'll move out. Find somewhere else. But don't expect to ever see us again. Tyler, you're missing the point. I already don't see you. When did you last visit? When did you last call to check on me? When did you last act like family instead of vultures? No answer. The rent adjustment stands, I said calmly. 30 days notice. Market rates apply to everyone, even family. Dad, Sarah tried one more time. It's Mr. Anderson now, or Mr. Landlord if you prefer. We're not family anymore, remember? You made that clear at your mother's funeral. I hung up. Janet called 20 minutes later. Mr. Anderson, your tenants just contacted me. They want to schedule a meeting. Discuss payment options. Tell them business hours are 9 to 5. Appointments only. No family discounts. Understood? Also, Channel 8 called. Something about a story on family real estate disputes. Transfer them to Patricia Wells. My attorney handles all media inquiries now. Will do. Anything else? Yes. Start advertising. Unit 2304. Market rate available January 1st. Already on it, boss. Boss? I could get used to that. But they weren't done fighting. The ambush came at Whole Foods. Thursday afternoon. I was buying groceries. Simple things for one person. Lean cuisine dinners. Single-serving everything. The shopping cart of a man learning to live alone. I was comparing prices on frozen vegetables when Sarah appeared at the end of the aisle. Red eyes, swollen face, the look of someone who hadn't slept in days. Dad, please. We need to talk. Tyler materialized behind her. Designer casual wear. The kind of outfit that costs $800 to look like you're not trying. James, Tyler said, loud enough for other shoppers to hear. This has gone far enough. Strategic positioning, public place, witnesses. Make the old man look unreasonable if he causes a scene. I don't believe we have an appointment, I said, continuing to shop. My property manager handles all tenant communications. Tenant communications? Sarah's voice cracked. Dad, I'm your daughter. My daughter died at her mother's funeral, I said quietly, putting organic broccoli in my cart. You're just someone who used to live rent-free in my building. A woman with 2 small children stopped pretending to shop and started openly watching our drama, her cart positioned for the best view. Tyler stepped closer, intimidation tactics. Listen, old man, you can't treat people like this. There are laws. You're absolutely right, Tyler. There are laws. Property law, landlord-tenant law, contract law. I'm following all of them. This is financial abuse. No, I said, moving toward the checkout lanes. Financial abuse is when adult children threaten legal action to steal their father's home 3 days after his wife's funeral. More shoppers stopped, phones coming out. Someone was definitely recording. Sarah grabbed my arm. Dad, stop! Please, people are watching. Good. Let them watch. Let them hear how you called me dead weight, how you threatened mental competency evaluations, how you wanted to warehouse me in assisted living so you could steal my gift. Tyler's face flushed red. We weren't stealing anything. We were helping you transition. Transition? I laughed. Actually laughed. Into what? Poverty? Isolation? Watching strangers live in the home I bought for my daughter? You're twisting everything. I'm stating facts. Market rate for your unit is $9,600. You've been paying $3,200. I subsidized your lifestyle for 7 years. That's over $300,000 in discounts. The math hit the crowd like a physical force. 300,000, numbers people could understand. Sarah started crying. Performance tears. We're family. Family doesn't charge each other market rates. You're right, I said, turning to face her directly. Family doesn't. But family also doesn't call each other dead weight. Family doesn't threaten legal action. Family doesn't try to steal homes from grieving widowers. We weren't trying to... Family, I continued, my voice carrying across the produce section, shows up for funerals without business plans. Family asks, how can I help? Not, when can I have your stuff? Tyler tried one more time. James, you're being unreasonable. We have rights as tenants. Absolutely. You have the right to pay market rent or find somewhere else to live. You have the right to 30 days' notice. You have the right to file complaints with the city. Exercise them. This will destroy our credit. Then you should have thought about that before you tried to destroy my life. An elderly woman approached us. Silver hair, kind eyes, the type who'd seen family drama before. Excuse me, she said to Sarah and Tyler, but I heard what you did to this man at his wife's funeral. She shook her head. Shameful. Absolutely shameful. Other voices joined in, murmurs of agreement. The crowd had chosen sides. Sarah looked around wildly, public opinion turning against her, the victim narrative collapsing. Dad, it's Mr. Anderson, I said, heading toward the exit. And if you want to discuss business matters, call my property manager. We're done here. Tyler shouted after me, We'll destroy your reputation. Everyone will know what kind of person you really are. I turned back one final time. Tyler, everyone already knows what kind of person I am. I built a company, supported my family, paid for my daughter's entire life. The question is, what kind of people are you? Silence. The crowd had its answer. Then Channel 8 News called me. Mr. Anderson, this is Rebecca Martinez from KVUE. We received some concerning information about a family dispute involving elder financial abuse. Would you be available for an interview? Elder financial abuse. Sarah had made her move. Ms. Martinez, I'd be happy to discuss the situation, but I think you should see some documentation first. What kind of documentation? The kind that shows who's actually being abused here. We met at my attorney's office. Patricia insisted on being present. Smart move. Rebecca Martinez was professional, mid-30s, the kind of journalist who'd covered family court cases before. She understood the complexities. Mr. Anderson, your daughter claims you're using your wealth to punish her family, that you've tripled their rent in retaliation for suggesting assisted living care. Miss Martinez, may I show you something? I handed her the funeral recording, 47 minutes of audio, complete transcript attached. She listened for 20 minutes. Her expression changed with every page. This was recorded at your wife's funeral? The reception. 3 hours after we buried my wife of 43 years. And they discussed taking over your home during this conversation? They brought paperwork, deed transfers, moving agreements, a timeline that treated my wife's death as a business opportunity. Rebecca took notes. Real journalism, fact-checking, documentation. What about the assisted living suggestion? Your daughter says they were concerned about your well-being. I opened a second folder, bank statements, medical records, character references. I sold my tech company for $200 million 18 months ago. My medical records show no cognitive decline. My financial decisions are documented as sound. The only concerning decision I made was trusting my daughter's motives. And the rent increase? Market adjustment. Here's the comparative analysis. I showed her Janet's research. Comparable units rent for $9,200 to $9,800. They were paying $3,200. I subsidized their lifestyle for 7 years. That's quite a subsidy. $312,000 in below-market rent, plus property taxes, plus maintenance, plus the $850,000 wedding gift for the loft itself. Rebecca whistled softly. Over $1 million total? $1.16 million for a daughter who called me dead weight at her mother's funeral. Mr. Anderson, some viewers might see this as wealthy man using money to control his family. Ms. Martinez, controlling families threaten legal action to steal homes from grieving widowers. I'm simply charging market rates for market quality housing. She interviewed Patricia next. 37 years of real estate law, professional credibility. This is textbook financial elder abuse, Patricia explained. Emotional manipulation combined with legal threats to coerce asset transfer. If James had signed those papers, he'd have lost his home, while his daughter profited from his grief. The story aired Friday night, prime time. Family Feud, when love becomes leverage. Rebecca had done her homework. Interviews with former TechFlow employees, character witnesses, Margaret's oncologist discussing my dedication during her illness. But the real impact came from social media. Sarah's Facebook post from 2 days earlier. Greedy landlord destroys loving family. Some people let money corrupt their souls. Prayers needed for healing and forgiveness. The comments section exploded after the news story. Wait, the greedy landlord is your father? You called him dead weight at your mom's funeral? He paid for your whole life, and you tried to steal his home. This is disgusting. Poor man just lost his wife. Tyler's LinkedIn post was even worse. Corporate greed destroys human decency. When business relationships matter more than family bonds, we've lost our humanity. His colleagues weren't buying it. Tyler, dude, you tried to steal your father-in-law's house. Corporate greed? The man built a successful company and supported your family? Delete this post. You look terrible. But the nuclear moment came from Margaret's former book club, 12 women, ages 65 to 78. They'd known Margaret for 15 years. They'd watched me care for her during the cancer treatment. Their group statement went viral. We knew Margaret Anderson for 15 years. We watched James Anderson sacrifice everything to care for his dying wife. We attended the funeral where his daughter called him dead weight and demanded his home. We are disgusted by Sarah's behavior and proud of James for standing up for himself. Margaret would be ashamed of her daughter, but proud of her husband. Shared 14,000 times in 24 hours. Sarah's victim narrative collapsed completely. Comments on her posts shifted from sympathy to outrage. Friends started unfriending. Her yoga instructors stopped liking her posts. Tyler fared worse. His investment firm received dozens of calls. How can we trust someone with our money when he steals from his own family? His boss called him into a closed-door meeting Monday morning. By Tuesday, Sarah had deleted all her social media posts. By Wednesday, Tyler had deactivated his LinkedIn entirely. By Thursday, Channel 8 received a statement from their attorney. Our clients decline further comment on this private family matter. Private family matter, after they'd tried to destroy me publicly, but the damage was done. Austin's a small city in many ways. Word travels fast, especially when that word is backed by 47 minutes of recorded evidence. The courthouse meeting would settle everything. Patricia called Wednesday morning. James, they want to negotiate. Their attorney says they're willing to discuss a payment plan. Payment plan? Like they were buying a used car instead of trying to steal my home. What kind of payment plan? Gradual increase to market rate over 18 months. Plus, they want to discuss the original deed transfer. Claim it was a gift in contemplation of inheritance, not a wedding present. Inheritance planning, their new angle. Turn my generosity into legal obligation. Patricia, I want a complete financial audit. Everything, 7 years of subsidies, gifts, support payments. I want numbers that would make a forensic accountant weep. James, that's expensive and probably overkill. It's not overkill when your own daughter tries to rob you. Do it. The audit took 2 weeks. Margaret's former business manager, retired CPA with 40 years experience, came out of retirement for this project. Said it was the most morally clear case he'd ever seen. The numbers were staggering. Wedding expenses, $127,432. Venue, catering, flowers, photography, band, honeymoon, rehearsal dinner, bachelor party, bridal shower. Every receipt preserved. College expenses, $468,912. Tuition, room, board, books, study abroad, graduate school, living expenses during unpaid internships, post-graduation support, $89,640. Car payments, insurance, apartment deposits, temporary loans that were never repaid. Property taxes on their loft, $224,000 over 7 years, $32,000 annually. Below market rent subsidy, $312,000. The difference between what they paid and market rates. Legal and professional fees I'd covered, $43,000. Tyler's student loan consolidation. Sarah's business license costs. Various emergency legal consultations. Total investment in Sarah's adult life, $1.265 million. Return on investment, being called dead weight at my wife's funeral. But the real discovery came from Tyler's financial records. Patricia's investigator, former FBI Financial Crimes Unit, found the smoking gun. Tyler had a gambling problem. Not just casual Vegas trips, online poker, sports betting, day trading with borrowed money, credit card debt, $89,430 across 6 cards. Margin calls on his brokerage account, $47,000. Second mortgage on a rental property he'd never mentioned, $112,000. Tyler Wilson was drowning in debt. The rent increase wasn't just inconvenient, it was potentially bankrupting. Jesus, James, Patricia said, reviewing the files. He's leveraged to the eyeballs. No wonder they were desperate for your assets. How desperate? Desperate enough to risk everything on stealing your home. If they'd succeeded in getting the deed transfer, they could have taken out a home equity loan. $850,000 in instant liquidity. $850,000. Enough to cover Tyler's debts with plenty left over. So this was never about my well-being? This was about their financial survival. You were their lottery ticket. I thought about Sarah's tears at Whole Foods, Tyler's threats about destroying my reputation, the social media campaign painting me as a greedy landlord, all to cover gambling debts. Patricia, I want character witnesses. People who knew Margaret and me, people who can speak to our relationship with Sarah before this started. How many? All of them. The list grew quickly. Former employees from TechFlow, 40 years of business relationships, Margaret's book club, our neighbors, the oncology team from Margaret's treatment, the hospice workers who'd seen me care for her during the final weeks, Dr. Elizabeth Chen, Margaret's oncologist. James Anderson was the most devoted husband I've seen in 25 years of practice. He never missed an appointment, learned to administer medications, slept in hospital chairs for weeks. When Margaret died, he was completely broken. The idea that his daughter would exploit that grief is unconscionable. Maria Santos, hospice nurse. Mr. Anderson provided round-the-clock care for his wife. He did everything: medications, physical therapy, emotional support. I watched him sacrifice his health to extend hers. Any suggestion that he wasn't thinking clearly is insulting to his dedication. Tom Bradley, former TechFlow CFO. James built a company through 40 years of smart decisions. His financial acumen is legendary. The idea that he'd suddenly become incompetent 6 months later is ridiculous. He's one of the shrewdest business minds I know. 12 character statements. Professional letterhead, notarized signatures, a wall of credibility that would destroy any competency challenge. But the final piece came from Margaret herself. While cleaning out her desk, I found a sealed envelope. My name in her handwriting. Instructions to open only if Sarah ever disappoints you. Margaret knew. Somehow, she knew. The letter was 3 pages. Her final thoughts about love, family, and boundaries. James, if you're reading this, Sarah has probably shown you who she really is. I've seen the signs for years. The entitlement, the lack of gratitude, the way she treats our generosity like obligation. I kept hoping she'd grow out of it. Maybe she still will. But if she doesn't, remember this. Love without respect isn't love. It's manipulation. And you don't owe anyone, even your daughter, access to your resources if they can't show basic human decency. Margaret's final gift. Permission to protect myself. The courthouse meeting was scheduled for December 15th. Neutral territory. All parties present. Time to present the evidence. The Austin City Hall community room was packed. What started as a private family mediation had somehow become a public event. Word spreads fast in a city like Austin, especially when Channel 8 covers your story and social media picks up the thread. The official reason for the meeting was Sarah and Tyler's formal complaint to the Austin Tenants Council. They claimed I was using my wealth to harass and intimidate them, wanted public oversight of landlord practices, demanded city intervention in abusive rent practices targeting vulnerable families. Vulnerable families? Rich people's way of claiming victim status. The room held about 100 people. Front rows filled with Sarah and Tyler's supporters, young professionals, some of Tyler's investment banking colleagues, people who saw this as generational warfare. Rich boomer versus struggling millennials. Middle rows held the curious, Austin residents interested in tenant rights issues, local journalists, a few city council members. Back rows were mine. Margaret's book club, 12 women who'd known us for 15 years, former TechFlow employees, Dr. Chen from the Oncology Center, Maria Santos from Hospice Care, people who'd watched me build a business and care for a dying wife. Councilwoman Janet Rodriguez, moderated, fair-minded, known for letting facts guide decisions rather than emotions. We're here to discuss the complaint filed by Sarah Anderson Clark and Tyler Wilson regarding alleged discriminatory rent practices by Austin Holdings, LLC. Mr. Anderson, as property owner, you may present first. I stood slowly, 68 years old, but every eye in that room followed my movement. Thank you, Councilwoman Rodriguez. Before I begin, I'd like everyone to understand what we're really discussing here. This isn't about tenant rights. This isn't about affordable housing. This is about whether adult children can threaten legal action to steal their father's home 3 days after his wife's funeral, then claim victim status when he refuses to cooperate. Murmurs through the crowd, Sarah's supporters shifting uncomfortably. I have documentation for everything I'm about to tell you. Audio recordings, financial records, witness statements, medical records, legal opinions. This isn't a he said, she said situation. This is a matter of public record. I played the funeral recording, 47 minutes condensed to the most damaging 10 minutes. Tyler's threats, Sarah's demands, the timeline treating Margaret's death as a business opportunity. The room went silent. You could hear phones buzzing as people started recording. That conversation took place 6 hours after we buried my wife of 43 years. The papers they brought were deed transfers. They wanted my home. They wanted it immediately, and they threatened legal action if I didn't comply. Sarah stood up. Dad, you're taking everything out of context. We were trying to help you. Help me what? Lose my home? Move to assisted living? Sign away assets while grieving? You weren't thinking clearly. I pulled out the financial audit. Let's talk about thinking clearly. I'd like to present evidence of my mental competency and financial decision-making over the past 18 months. Patricia distributed copies to the city council members and journalists. Sale of TechFlow Industries, $200 million, handled personally with legal counsel. February 2024. City business license records show the transaction as one of Austin's largest tech acquisitions that year. Medical expenses for Margaret Anderson, $340,000 over 18 months. Every treatment decision made in consultation with Dr. Elizabeth Chen, head of oncology at Dell Seton Medical Center. Dr. Chen is here today to testify to my competency during this period. Dr. Chen stood. James Anderson made complex medical decisions for 18 months. Treatment protocols, insurance negotiations, care coordination. His cognitive function was exceptional throughout his wife's illness. Tyler tried to interrupt. That's not the issue here. The issue is... The issue, I said, pulling out Tyler's financial records, is why you needed my assets so desperately. The bomb dropped. Tyler Wilson owes $89,430 in credit card debt, $47,000 in margin calls on unauthorized day trading, $112,000 in undisclosed real estate leveraging, total debt, $248,000. Gasps from the crowd. Tyler's face went white. If Sarah and Tyler had succeeded in obtaining my property through deed transfer, they could have immediately taken out an equity loan for $150,000, more than enough to cover Tyler's gambling debts with plenty remaining. That's private financial information, Tyler shouted. You can't. I can when you threaten to steal my home to cover your poker losses. Sarah was crying now, real tears this time. Dad, please stop. You're destroying us. I'm revealing the truth. Something you should have considered before you tried to destroy me. Councilwoman Rodriguez banged her gavel. Mr. Anderson, do you have evidence supporting the debt claims? Patricia handed over the financial investigation. Credit reports, bank statements, brokerage records. Everything documented and verified, Patricia announced. Mr. Wilson has been borrowing against future income to cover current gambling debts. The rent increase threatens their ability to maintain this unsustainable financial structure. The room erupted, Sarah's supporters looking shocked, Tyler's colleagues whispering urgently, but I wasn't finished. I want to read something, I said, pulling out Margaret's letter. This was written by my wife during her final weeks. Instructions to open only if Sarah ever disappointed me. The room quieted. James, if you're reading this, Sarah has probably shown you who she really is. I've seen the signs for years, the entitlement, the lack of gratitude, the way she treats our generosity like obligation. Sarah sobbed louder. Remember this. Love without respect isn't love. It's manipulation. And you don't owe anyone, even your daughter, access to your resources if they can't show basic human decency. I folded the letter carefully. Margaret died owing me a promise that I'd never let anyone, including family, take advantage of my kindness again. The back rows, my supporters, started applauding, slow at first, then building. Now let's discuss the rent increase complaint. Market analysis shows comparable units. renting for $9,200 to $9,800. I charged $3,200, below market rate for 7 years. I showed the subsidy calculations. Total discount provided, $312,000, plus property taxes, $224,000, plus the original $850,000 wedding gift. $1.386 million invested in my daughter's adult life. Return on investment, being called dead weight at my wife's funeral. The crowd was entirely on my side now. Even some of Sarah's initial supporters looked disgusted. Tyler made one last desperate attempt. This is elder abuse. He's using his wealth to punish us for caring about his well-being. Maria Santos, the hospice nurse, stood up. I cared for Margaret Anderson during her final weeks. I watched James sacrifice everything for his wife. Sleep in hospital chairs, learn medical procedures, provide round-the-clock care. Any suggestion that this man wasn't thinking clearly is an insult to his dedication. The book club ladies started clapping again, then the former employees, then most of the room. Councilwoman Rodriguez called for order. Based on the evidence presented, I find no violation of tenant rights or discriminatory practices. Market rate rent adjustments are legal and appropriate. The complaint is dismissed. Sarah ran from the room. Tyler followed, his career and reputation in ruins. But before I left, I had one final statement. To anyone who thinks I was too harsh, I'm 68 years old. I buried my wife 6 months ago. I supported my daughter for 35 years, and when I needed family most, they saw opportunity instead of obligation. I looked toward the door where Sarah and Tyler had fled. Love should be a two-way street. For too many years, I walked both directions. Today, I taught them how traffic really works. The applause lasted 5 minutes. The local news coverage lasted all week, and the lesson, that lasted forever. 6 months later, Sarah knocked on my door. Not the penthouse door. I'd sold that back to myself through Austin Holdings and moved to a smaller place in Westlake. 2 bedrooms, garden view, enough space for one person learning to live again. She looked different, thinner, less polished, the designer clothes replaced with Target basics, hair pulled back in a simple ponytail instead of the $100 salon styles. Dad, can we talk? I let her in, made coffee. We sat at my small kitchen table, a far cry from the marble island in the penthouse, where she'd once demanded my home. Tyler and I separated, she said quietly, 3 months ago. I nodded. I'd heard through Margaret's book club network. Austin's a small city for big news. The gambling was worse than I knew. He'd been hiding accounts, borrowing against my retirement, using our joint credit for online poker. I'm sorry to hear that. She looked surprised. You're sorry? After everything? Sarah, I never wanted your marriage to fail. I wanted you to respect boundaries. The investment firm fired him. The debt collectors garnished his wages. We lost the downtown apartment. They'd moved to a 2-bedroom in Cedar Park, $900 a month. Tyler working restaurant shifts while attending Gamblers Anonymous. Sarah back to entry-level marketing work. Where are you living now? Small place north of town. I got a job at a local agency, starting over. We sat quietly for several minutes, the weight of 6 months settling between us. I owe you an apology, she said finally. Not because of the money. Because of Mom's funeral. What I said. What we tried to do. What you said hurt, but what you tried to do was worse. I know. Tears now. Real ones. I was scared. Tyler was panicking about the debts. We thought you'd be okay. That you didn't really need the space. I needed my daughter. Instead, I got business partners who wanted to liquidate my assets. I'm sorry, Dad. I'm so fucking sorry. Margaret would have scolded her for the language. I just handed her tissues. Sarah, I forgive you. But forgiveness doesn't mean forgetting. Trust has to be earned back. How? Time. consistency, proving that you understand the difference between love and entitlement. She nodded. Can I visit sometimes, just to talk? You can visit, but we start small. Coffee dates, public places, gradual rebuilding. What about the money? The building, I'm not asking for anything, but the building's been sold. New owners, professional management. I kept detailed records of every subsidy, every gift, every dollar invested in your life. Consider it your inheritance given early. And us? I thought about Margaret's letter, about boundaries and respect and love that flows both ways. Us? We'll see. Love isn't automatic, Sarah, even family love. It requires mutual respect, consistent behavior, and acknowledgement when someone's been wronged. She left an hour later, promised to call before visiting again. A month later, she sent a card. Margaret's birthday, just a simple note. Thinking of Mom today, and grateful for the father who loved her so completely. Small steps, but steps forward. The building? I donated the proceeds to the Margaret Anderson Cancer Research Fund. $3.2 million helping other families fight the fight we lost. The fund's motto, taken from Margaret's letter. Love without respect isn't love. Some boundaries, once established, change everything.